Hey everyone, welcome back to OC Outdoorsman. Well, here we are, day one at Cambria, my first time fishing this area. And it was also my first time launching into open water. Now, as you've seen in previous videos, I have launched from protected beaches over at Newport Dana and Redondo. But again, this is my first time launching from an unprotected beach into the open waters of the ocean. Wells aren't too bad right now. There's about 16 seconds between sets, so totally manageable. But I'm really bummed right now because during the launch and in the darkness, I lost my marine radio in the surf. So I have no means of communicating. It was super foggy this morning too, but it's cleared up a bit. It's just overcast at this point. And another thing I forgot to bring, actually, I left all my squid in my truck, so we have no cut bait right now. We're gonna have to make bait now, but we'll be fishing again tomorrow, so we'll have plenty of squid for Saturday. But for today, it's all artificials at this point. 202 feet of water. On a hookup bait. So I'm about to release this fish on the Shelton descending tool, and check out my new rig. It's actually just an old 2-piece rod where I removed the top section. It makes it a lot more compact, as you can see. This is ideal for traveling, especially when you're doing beach launches and you have to store the rods inside the hull of your kayak. It takes up very little room. Now that top section, which has been removed, because that is typically a lot more flexible, it has very little backbone, which makes it difficult to release the fish from the descending tool. Because this bottom half has very little flex, once the fish hits the bottom, you just have to yank back on the rod and it will release instantly from the descending tool. Here's another really cool thing about fishing the Central Coast. If you look out there in the distance, look at the spout. This was the third or fourth time a gray whale came within 50 yards of our kayaks. Oh, nice one.
There you go.
On the hookup bait again. All on the hookup baits. Bait ball. Oh yeah. There we go. Needed this. We needed some live bait. A lot of mackerel. GoPro, stop. I believe I lost 3 double dropper loop rigs to the rocks out here. So I had to tie one out in the open water today. Oh man, so time consuming. Okay, now I'm about ready to cast it out. I'll be using chopped mackerel now. man. Yeah, it's really rocky down there. We're about 220 feet of water. But this is my new double dropper loop. Had to tie it out here in open water. I try to avoid this if at all possible. I'm gonna have to tie maybe 5, pre-tie 5 double dropper loops next time I come out here. Double! Oh! Is that a calico? What is that? It's like a hybrid. What is that? Now that I was using chopped mackerel as bait, I started to catch sand dabs, and this was just the right size. Mike wanted to use this one as live bait on his rig. So here's the handoff. Apparently someone landed a nice lingcod using sand dabs as bait the other day. Oh, decent! It's a copper. Look at that bad boy. Nice copper. I'm gonna let him go. I know they have bigger ones. I'm just letting everything go today. No barrow trauma, so I can just release them. Oh, decent one. The red. First one of the day. First red of the day. I'm gonna send him back down. Double. Where are these fish? No barrow trauma. Well, here's my first attempt at a beach landing on open water. As you can see, I've already taken my rods down. I've stored them inside of the hull along with my fish finder, so if I should flip, none of my gear is going to be lost or broken or soaked in salt water. So now I'm switching to paddles, and as you can see, you really need to pay attention to your surroundings as you're paddling in. Make sure no big swells come up or breaking waves come up from behind you. As you can see, even with very little breaking waves or swells, the smallest of waves can flip your yak if you're not careful. Here we are, it's a Saturday, a little after 5 a.m. Look at all of these kayaks. The Fresh and Salty kayak fishing group is now here, and we're all going to head out into open water, launching from this beach. Alright, day 2 over here in Cambria. There had to be at least 70 kayakers this morning on this tiny little beach. Whew, it was crowded, but this is opening weekend for the Central Coast. The Fresh and Salty team is all out here. A lot of people kayak fishing this morning. We're heading south. I don't even know if you guys can see me. It's very little light. Wonder if it's a double or if he's just big.
Let's hope it's not a double.
I just hope it's a big one. Ooh, yeah. Nice one. Look at that. All right. After catching that red, I started to catch a bunch of these olive rockfish that I ended up just releasing, but comment below if you've ever kept and eaten one of these, and more importantly, how did they taste? The camera failed when I caught the second big red. Okay, well, oh man, the battery's about to die. I'm going to speed up the footage here because after catching that other red, I just started landing a ton of these gopherfish. Again, comment below if you've ever eaten one of these things because they're really plentiful out here. Alright, Mike just caught a 31-inch lingcod on this. So I'm going to give it a shot. It's a big old white grub. I think it's a 6-inch. It feels like a 1-ounce leadhead. Try that out. Just caught something on the white grub. Bouncing it off the bottom. Lingcod. Oh yeah. Look at that. I don't know if he's legal though, but it's a ling. Oh, he's heavy. Measure him. He'll be close. Look at that lingcod, baby. Let's measure him. Now here's where things went wrong. As I placed the fish down on my yak, I went to grab a tape measure, and this happens. If you happen to catch a fish out here with blue fish grippers in his mouth, yep, that was my lingcod. Right out the boat. Ah! He jumped out of my boat. Unbelievable. Alright. Mike gave me another one of these. And I'm going to try this again. Now, one thing, before you tie on a new lure or grub, whatever you want to put a rig, check out this line. It's pretty frayed up. It's been cut up by these fish as I fight them. So you don't want to tie that on. Cut off that part and then just use the fresh mono or fluorocarbon above it. That way you'll minimize any chances of losing a fish because of frayed line. I'm going to have to do a voiceover because, as you can see, the wind made it very difficult to hear me speak, and it was blowing in my face, which really slowed down my progress. But what was really bad is that the wakes and the swells were hitting my kayak from the side, and as you know, getting hit broadside by a wake or swell can be really sketchy. So I decided to call it a day at this point, and I'm heading back to the landing. Back at the beach, the guys were starting to weigh the biggest fish of the day, and it turns out it was a 32-inch lingcod. You know, Mike came very close. He had a 31-incher. Once again, this was the Fresh and Salty Kayak Fishing Group. Great bunch of guys. We had a great time out here in Cambria, California. It was wonderful because I got to finally launch my kayak from an unsheltered beach, and I was fortunate that the waves and the swells were calm enough here at the surf to where I didn't flip my kayak. This was a good experience because I plan on fishing La Jolla in the summer for yellowtail, and as you know, that too is an unsheltered beach. So to close this video, here's some aerial footage of beautiful Cambria, California, and Leffington Landing. on the water for over 7 hours and covered 12 miles, but you know, I can think of no better way to exercise. It's always great to be out on the ocean.